Welcome back to episode 3 of building the ultimate vineyard in Farming Simulator 25. Last episode, we harvested our very first grapes and made some serious money doing it. If you missed that episode, there's a card at the top right corner. Go check it out so you're caught up on the journey. Now, with that first grape harvest behind us, it is time to talk numbers. We're sitting on $321,000 in the bank. That might sound like a lot, but here's the thing. I'm not saving a single dollar. Not one. The strategy is actually pretty simple, but it requires patience and commitment. Every year we harvest grapes. Every year we make money. And every single year we are going to take every dollar we earn and pour it right back into expanding this vineyard. More grapevines means more grapes. More grapes means more money. More money means even more expansion. It's a beautiful cycle that is going to compound year after year until we achieve our ultimate goal, building the most insane vineyard Farming Simulator 25 has ever seen. How long will it take? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but I can promise you this, we're going to make it happen, and you're going to be here for every step of the journey. So if you are enjoying this series, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. Trust me, things are about to get wild. Alright, let's get to work. First things first, we need more land. I went ahead and purchased Farmland 43 for $102,000. Now, this field right here is going to be the foundation of our expansion. It's a good sized plot and I've got big plans for it. After the purchase, I was left with $218,000 in the bank. Now here's where things get a little nerve-wracking. Before I go buying any more fields, I need to make absolutely certain that this remaining money is enough to plant grapevines across this entire field. Because what good is land if we can't afford to plant anything on it, right? So let's find out. Without wasting any more time, I jumped into the planting process. And let me tell you, this is where you really start to see your bank account drain in real time. Grapevine by grapevine, row by row, I methodically planted them across the entire field. It's tedious work, but watching this empty field transform into a future moneymaker is incredibly satisfying. When all was said and done, I had spent $120,000 on grapevines alone. That left me with just $98,000 in the bank. Definitely not enough for any further vineyard expansion this year. So that's it for the land grab. Now comes the real work. Preparing this vineyard to produce the maximum amount of grapes possible. With the grapevines in the ground, it was time to tackle the essential maintenance work. First up, mulching and cultivating. I attached the mulcher to the front of my tractor and the cultivator to the back. With the GPS steering assist helping me out, the job became much more manageable. I'm not going to lie, without GPS, this would be an absolute nightmare trying to keep everything straight and even. In the last episode, I asked in the comments whether it's necessary to mulch and cultivate really close to the grapevines. Several of you shared from your experience that it's actually not necessary. And let me tell you, that saved me an enormous amount of time. I wasn't sitting there second guessing myself, wondering if I'm doing it wrong or if I am missing something crucial. That kind of community knowledge is invaluable. So thank you for that. With mulching and cultivating finished, the next critical step was spraying the grapevines. Now here is something interesting. Field 43 was previously fertilized, which meant I didn't have to spray all the grapevines. I only needed to hit the ones at the ends, since I planted them slightly beyond the original field boundaries, extending a bit more onto the sides of the land. I went ahead and sprayed all the other grapevines that were planted from before on the existing fields too, just to ensure we are maximizing our grape production across the entire operation. When you are investing this much money, you want to squeeze every last liter of grapes out of these vines, both the new ones and the ones we planted in previous episodes. And that wrapped up April, not too shabby for a month's work. With all the prep work finished, the planting, the mulching, the cultivating, the spraying, there was literally nothing else to do except wait. And that's one of the interesting things about vineyard farming. It is not constant action. You do all this intensive work up front and then you have to be patient. You have to trust the process and let nature do its thing. So I fast forwarded to September, anxiously waiting to see just how many grapes these expanded vineyards would produce. This is the moment of truth. Would all this investment pay off? September finally arrived, and it was time to set up for harvest. Organization is key here if you want to work efficiently. I attached the trailer to my tractor and strategically parked it nearby, positioning it for easy access. The plan was simple. Once the harvester gets full of grapes, I can quickly dump them into the trailer without wasting time driving back and forth. With everything in position, I climbed into my trusty grape harvester and fired it up. It was time to see what this expanded vineyard could really do. And so it began. Harvesting the grapes grapevine by grapevine. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This process is painfully slow. It's not like harvesting wheat where you can just blast through a field in no time. Grape harvesting is methodical, deliberate, and honestly tests your patience. But here is the thing. It's also incredibly rewarding. Watching those grape bins fill up, knowing that each one represents money in the bank, makes every minute worth it. And then something hilarious happened that I have to tell you about. When I first planted these grapevines, I placed some of them closer to the sidewalk without really thinking about it. Well, during harvest, there were people walking by, and they literally just stopped and stood there, blocking my path, waiting for me to move the harvester so they could continue their walk. And I'm sitting there thinking, hello there? What are you waiting for? You can walk around the harvester, you know? What are you staring at? I'm working here. I'm harvesting grapes. Where do you even need to go that badly? You know what? You can wait. I've got things to do. I'll move when I'm good and ready. But eventually, I moved the harvester, and they continued on their way. Virtual pedestrians, am I right? Anyway, back to the serious business. The harvesting continued, and I had to make multiple trips back and forth from the vineyard to the train station to transport all these grapes. We're not talking about a single trailer load here. This is serious volume. And this right here, this is my absolute last load. 12,000 liters of grapes being transported to the train station, where they'll sit and wait. See, here is the strategic part. I'm not selling these grapes in September. No way. In March, the price per 1,000 liters of grapes is significantly higher. So we are playing the long game here, storing everything and waiting for premium prices. When I tailed everything up, the numbers were impressive. I managed to harvest 171,561 liters of grapes. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's 52,897 liters more than last year's harvest. The vineyard expansion is really showing results. This isn't just a marginal increase. This is a substantial jump in production that proves our strategy is working. Now comes the hard part. Waiting until March to see exactly how much money these extra liters of grapes will bring us. But trust me, the anticipation is building. Before we could move forward though, there was some housekeeping to handle. First on the agenda, I needed to repair my tractor. After all those hours of work, it was running at reduced horsepower, and that was making everything slower and less efficient. I took it in for repairs, and the bill came just a little over $2,000. Honestly, that's not bad at all, considering how many hours I've logged with this tractor. It's been the workhorse of this entire operation, and keeping it in top condition is essential. With the tractor running like new again, it was time to tackle the next task. And now we arrive at one of the most tedious, annoying, mid-numbing things you can possibly do in Farming Simulator 25. I'm talking of course about pruning. I genuinely hate the pruning system in Farming Simulator 25. I really do. It was so much better, so much more intuitive, and less frustrating in Farming Simulator 22. But here we are, and the grapevines needed to be pruned whether I like it or not. So no more complaining, I just had to get it done. I worked my way through the entire vineyard, pruning each grapevine to prepare them for the next growing season. It is essential maintenance that you simply cannot skip if you want your vines to produce properly. With the pruning finally finished, and believe me, it took way longer than I would have liked, the grapevines were ready to grow again. And with that, we had absolutely nothing else to do. So I did what any sensible virtual farmer would do. I slept all the way through the remaining months, straight to March, This is it. This is the moment we have been building toward. After all the expansion, all the work, all the waiting, we are about to find out exactly how much money this enlarged vineyard is going to make us. I headed to the train station, my heart racing a little with anticipation. This was going to tell us whether all that investment was truly worth it. At the station, I rented the train. Now, if you watched the last episode, you'll remember that the train had some technical difficulties. Let's just say it had a bad habit of stealing my grapes, which was not exactly ideal. So, as I loaded all the grapes onto the train this time, I was cautiously optimistic but also slightly nervous. Please, train, don't betray me again. With everything loaded, I climbed into the engine and drove the train straight toward the selling point. This is always the longest journey because you're sitting there, watching the countryside go by, wondering if everything is going to work properly. And then, success. Thankfully, this time the train behaved itself and didn't steal a single grape. All our produce made it safely to the selling point. Now for the moment of truth. I pulled up the sales screen and we made $336,800. That's absolutely amazing. Let me break down what this means. That's $104,000 more than last year's harvest. The vineyard expansion was absolutely, without a doubt, worth every penny we invested. The strategy is working. The numbers don't lie. We're scaling this operation exactly the way we planned. And the returns are real. And now, check this out. We are sitting on $426,800. Ready for the next expansion phase. That is nearly $500,000 that we can pour right back into making this vineyard even bigger and more profitable. But you're going to have to wait for the next episode to see exactly what we do with all that money. I can promise you this, we are going to expand the vineyard even further. And yes, we'll probably spend every last dollar on it again, because that's how you build an empire in this game. The question is, how big can we actually grow this thing? How much money can one vineyard generate? We are going to find out together. And that marks the end of episode 3 of building the ultimate vineyard in Farming Simulator 25. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like the video. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode where we'll be taking this vineyard to even crazier heights. We are on a mission here, and every episode gets us closer to building the ultimate vineyard in Farming Simulator 25. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube is recommending another one that you might like as well. Check it out. I'll see you in the next episode where we continue building our grape empire.